This is how you make your customers more valuable. Because if they never leave and they continue to pay you, they become more valuable. So, 7 things brought to you by Alex Ramosi in the Alex Ramosi Club. It starts with the number 1 order of importance. What should you be doing? And that is retention. So customer value is tied to retention. So he says onboard. Have a purpose-driven onboard where you walk through and you say from day 0, hour 0 to day X, which is, you set the time. You can onboard them for 3 months. You can onboard them for 3 days. You can onboard them for 24 hours, 48 hours. I would say 7 weeks, or not 7 weeks, but a week would be a good cadence to default onboarding, and that is setting expectations for the clientele, and then just communicating upfront, loading up the expectations, what it's going to look like. You're giving them the walkthrough of how it works, but you're also doing, reconfirming their buying decision instantly. Then you're giving them that, pre-existing notion of like just kind of setting up the expectations, and then you are doing walk through your product. So those are the 3 parts of the onboarding process, and the first 24 hours is the most crucial part. So when someone buys, you have 24 hours to retain them. Most studies, Alex says that if you don't, then that's when you lose a lot of people, is if they get in their head, but you reconfirm them in their head, reconfirm their buying decision, and why, running through the benefits of what you sold them on, and showing that you're consistent from day 1. That is how you do a proper onboarding. The second most important thing would be let's see. The second thing would be what does he say? So you have exit interviews is number 1, onboarding number 2, events and handwritten cards, number 3, number 4, personal reach outs. So reaching out, personal was also number 2, but actually make it number 5. Onboarding, and the last one is escaping my mind, referrals. Unlockables. So this is his number 2. Gave me the list. Number 2 is unlockables and bonuses. So what you do is, now that you've onboarded them, you've showed them if they want to unlock certain things, certain features in the program, in the product, in the accountability, then to unlock, they have to do either activity or tenure, and you can pace it out. So it's like, for instance, if they've just been there for 3 months, they can unlock this. If they have been there for 8 months, then they unlock the next thing. 15 months, the next thing. However, if they do more activity, 3, maybe it's 2 months, and then it's 6 months, then it's 9 months, is because it's based on their activity of unlockables. You can see actually how YouTube and a lot of places do this. Is YouTube, in order to monetize, you have to, or even unlock the ability to go past 15 minutes or get a custom thumbnail, which is very important. You have to verify your number, verify your face. And so if you do these things, like first you got to click on the first one, and then verify your number, and then verify your face, and those will unlock the features for you to unlock YouTube to its full potential. And then they have more unlockables where it's, watch hours, and then you can get monetized. And then there's community, and then there's the other unlockables that are not as easy as validating. So you can validate to unlock, and then you can also activity to unlock. And so when you do these things, you'll start to retain, and you'll start to find out when you're doing the thing. Another thing back to the onboarding is every day when you're onboarding, if it's on your end, the customer, the business end, all you have to do is saying, we have set up this, and you're just creating communication every day where we have done this. Thank you for your patience. We're on to the next step. Hey, we've done this. And it's like, they haven't done anything, but they're being communicated to every day about the onboarding process. Hey, you've moved from processing to this and then this. And so if you can communicate that properly, then you will be able to successfully onboard. So going back to the unlockables, making sure that there's a dashboard where they can see progress. They can see progress. I keep doing that. Maybe I should stop. And when you unlock the things, you will find success because they can see and achieve what to do. And the other thing you could do for unlockables is pay, where it's like, if you want to unlock these things, you can pay, because sometimes customers get an itch to pay. And if you feed them that itch of paying, you're like, hey, look, you like our service, you tested out the free, here, try the medium, try the silver, try the gold, try the platinum, try the ethereal, try the, black matter, or whatever, whatever the highest degree is. And so then we moved to the third thing that he said was exit interviews, because exit interviews gives you two options. One, to retain the customer by upselling them, say, hey, whatever they paid, so let's say they did 3 months for $100 a month, $300 credit, we're going to actually give you a $300 credit for the next 3 months, but we're going to put you on the gold standard, a higher standard, so when they come back and they use it, then they've tasted it and seen heaven, and so they want a little more slice of heaven, because it's easier, loss aversion, right? It's easier for people to defend the losing something than actually trying to gain. So if you give them that loss aversion, then bada bing, bada boom, you get to do that. So, month for free, because it's a credit or whatever. It's like, hey, we'll give you the next, thing for the whatever. And so then you're actually not losing them, you're actually gaining more because you're upselling them. The second one would be you're gathering data about how you can improve your product, and if they're very mad, which they'll probably likely be, then you get mad at the thing. You get mad with them at the thing, because if you're mad with them at the thing, then you have found the golden ticket to understanding psychologically thing, because they'll calm you down, because you have to match their whatever rhythm, and basically mirror them, because if you mirror them and then over mirror them, then they'll say, hey, whoa. It'll snap them out of their perception and into a perspective. So then we can come to a solution. But then the whole thing about that is that's how you deal with the emotions. The second thing would be some of them are just going to leave, and that's okay. What you could do, Russell Brunson says this, he's the funnel cake guy. He says, if they're going to leave, give them a opportunity, like, hey, do you still want to do something like this? Because I've got deals. Basically, you promote something, like do an affiliate link to another side competition product, where you're like, hey, look, I've got this link, you can save money going that way if you want to do that. Hey, this link is valid forever, so when you decide if you don't want to come back to us, you can actually go to them, and you just get them to toss that, because then they can give you that last pay, and then you say, have a great day, I hope they suit you better than us, but tell us how we can improve. So those are the three things. Is first you have to get over the emotional block, then you get the data of what actually went wrong, why did they leave, and then you can put that in a bank, and then you can either upsell them, hey, here are your two options, we can leave. Our three options is like, you can leave and say, but you really give them the two options is you can leave, or we can credit you. A next thing, going to the ascension, ascending the customers to the higher level, and then say, hey, try this out for size, and if you like it, then we'll have another exit interview, and we'll do a checkup, and we'll see what you like. The other thing would be here is hey, maybe we're not the right fit, but I've got another buddy over here who does the same thing. Try this on for size, and then you have to work out with that buddy how to get the money, because it's like you're referring him, and referrals are really good for business. And if you're referring their business and then they're referring your business, that's how you can build a win-win-win, because then the customer gets to try something else and win, and hopefully that system is better than yours, but then you can learn from their system. And so you're just learning. Exit interviews are learning. Number 4 would be personal reach outs. I think so. I think he said that. But personal reach outs is being human during the process of promoting, right? You're just being a human, where it doesn't matter about the thing. So the personal reach outs, you reach out. So there's personal, and then there's like, hey, accountability reach outs. And the personal reach outs are every 14 to 21 days. You're going to do what you did. If it's like a cold, it's the whole system where you're going to do what you did, to research them for 5 minutes, say, hey, I saw you did this, and just tell me about it. What's up? You're creating that what's up thing where it's like soft. You're literally just saying, how are you doing? Is there anything that we can pray for? Is there anything that you're struggling with? Not about the product, but just in life in general. And then bonus tip, I go to a dentist, can't you see? They keep a CRM, and it is on fire because every time you go, it's as if you were continuing the same conversation. And so I'll bring up something, they'll ask questions, you'll bring it up. Hey, I went to Cabo. I didn't go to Cabo, but I went to Disneyland. He actually is going to Disneyland. And so when they go to Disneyland, then they'll, he's going to go, he wanted to go to Universal to go to Nintendo. So I'm keeping that in my brain. But I've had the same thing where they brought up exactly what I talked about last time, and it was genius. And all they do is they talk about it, and then they go and they write it down in their CRM. So all that to say is, with your personal, just keep a CRM. Is, hey, in your customer relationship manager, you're putting that conversation in there so you can have context and perspective of what's going on in that person's life, just in case like they ghost you. It's because they said they had a funeral to deal with, and it's going to be 2 weeks. It's like, okay, I'm not going to call them mid whatever session or whatever. So mid funeral, and because it's like, hey, love to see you again. It's like, hey dude, I'm at a funeral. It's like, oh, I know this because I talked to you. Personal reach out. Second one is, if you see, tracking attendance. I think that's what it either was a category or a subcategory, but it leads me into this one. Tracking attendance is vital, because when people start to ghost, that's when you start to know that they're gone, because they just need to consume more things and get their attention back on to the goal and their perspective. And if you do that, and you just start reaching out, because with a lead, you want to reach out, slow taper. With a customer, you want to slowly ramp up, and if they're ghosting you, you just go, hey, and then they get cadence, and then they return back to their normal self, or the normal cadence of showing up, of saying, oh, I am logging my numbers, I am showing up to the gym, I am doing these things, I am putting some input into the thing. And once you do that, then hopefully that gets them back on track, because you're trying to get their attention back on track, sending them more content to consume, because you're letting them say, hey, this was a problem that you really solved. Hey, is it a pain? Is it still the same pain, or whatever? You just it's just checking in on them and just saying, hey, we care about you, and we've noticed you've gone down. And noticing is the first step, because people just want attention. Notice, recognition, and praise, right? And if you can do that, that's the recognition. We've recognized that you're not showing up. Why is that? Hey, love to see you again. That's the first step. Hey, love to see you again. What's going on? Hey, love to see you again. Hey, you remember why we introduced, why we hate our double chin? Because, it's not fun. It's not pleasing. The third or fourth thing, I'll leave it as a surprise. Because I've forgotten. I'll leave it as a surprise. Is the fifth, or the sixth and seventh thing was event and handwritten notes, handwritten cards. Events are important because it builds community around your product, and people are drawn to a community, and it's almost contagious, and it takes care of itself, because when they create a relationship with you, but also other people in the environment, in the community, it's very hard for them to leave, right? So with that said, you host events. That's when you say, bring a friend. Why haven't you brought a friend around? The other thing is, it's like, that's when you can upsell, but that's just a time to create community, upsell, refer, introduce, and have a cadence of in-person to person thing, because people love that if you're not an in-person thing. And so there's this mockingbird that keeps attacking my dog, and so my in-law's dog. So it's kind of funny. He's a bugger. So with events said, you can, you're creating that community, and it's huge to have, because meetups, actual conferences, and all these things, conferences where it's not just session. It could be session thing, but I just love interactive conferences where you can do like a house building thing, and where you're like, hey, let's do a gingerbread house, like building competition, group up in teams. We're going to do it. We're going to present it. It's going to be a competition. It's going to be fun. It's going to be artistic. If you want to compete. If you want to judge, then you can judge. And then that creates a competition, because everybody loves those type of games. And so that's events. And handwritten notes are it's basically like a personal reach out. And so you write it to them, you do that, and you use that as the golden ticket to the events. And you say, hey, if you give this to a friend, if you take a picture and give this to a friend, they can get in for free. And so that's a way to get referrals. And so the whole thing is trying to get referrals as well. Let's see. We had exit interviews, which I covered. We had onboarding, which I covered. We had reach outs, attendance, which I covered. Events and handwritten notes, because it's a personal thing. Let's see. Unlockables, which is huge. And then the last thing is number 4, which I forgot. Exit interview, reach out. It might have been the keep them attendance. So that's probably what it was. Keep them attended. And I'm trying to do this because I listened from him, and then now his was 29 minutes, but mine is less. Hopefully it's less, but I'm just trying to regurgitate so that I can remember, because that's how you do it. And I'm just taking the notes like this because that's how I do it. Let's see. Events, reach outs, onboarding, exit interview, handwritten notes, unlockables, and last one. It's fine. I probably covered it, but that's fine. I'll go review it, and it'll be okay. And I'll probably want to talk about it more. But the whole point of this is just care about the people. And when you care about the people, you take care of them, and you communicate, because 100%. There's probably like 85 setting expectations that was onboarding, and just being consistent with your communication, because most of the time you're communicating to people. Like if you just think about it, it's probably 90% or 90 to 80% of the business is communicating, and that is just communicating. And so if you can communicate well, and you can share that if you can share that you care, if you can care and share, then people, it's easy to cancel a membership. It's hard to cancel a relationship. And if you can turn a membership into a relationship where you actually care, and y'all are alongside each other trying to tackle a problem because you're solving the problem, because you've given a product, which is an automated service, or you're giving a service, which is an automated product. You know what I mean? When you're giving a service, then you can start to see and you care, and then you can spend more money on them because they're staying with you more. Because if you can, here's the thing, people are more likely to save and conserve and scarcity mindset because loss aversion. But if you can basically be a side bank account for them and focused on this, it's like, hey, I want to spend more money on you than you ever would. And then it's like they're just putting more money in. And 1, they're getting the service, but then 2, they're paying you. And then 3, they're getting extra money, that extra money that you can spend on them, because a 3-to-1 ratio of if they're valued at $1,000 lifetime value, which is the whole thing of this thing. If they're 1,000 lifetime and you take them to 2,000 I'm using his same numbers because you've retained more people, so then the more the merrier. And if you say, let's just say it's $900, or so $1,000 lifetime value, you can spend $300 on those people, and typically it's advertisements. Or so if you split the advertisement, you say $150 on advertising and $150 on that person. I'm going to spend $150 on that person. That could be in terms of credits, that could be in terms of, gift cards or money, right? Gift cards to your service, which is credit, or an event like specializing in them and taking them into something that like gets them to the goal. So if it's weightlifting, it's a competition. If it's baseball and sports, you're taking them to the field. If they're young and they want to be a professional, it's like, let's show them what professionals look like. Let's give them behind the scenes of like on the field, what it looks like. Let's hear the crowd roar. And then come back. Because then if you can give them those things, you can treat them and you can train them to attain to the goal. Try to maintain and attain the goal. And that is how you retain and create more value for customers, because there's two ways to increase a business. Have more valuable customers because they stay longer, they pay longer, and two, get more customers. And you'll need both, right? So they both work hand to hand. It's just about the customers. Have a great day. Have an exploding business and use School. That's what Alex uses. And he builds these in automatically. So that's the platform. If you want it done for you, go to Alex. If you want it done, do it yourself, do those things. These are the things that we shall try to succeed in business, which I thought, it's like, why doesn't anybody create like an Alex Hormozi School or Alex Hormozi accountability group where you're paying them so that because he's given us the formula. Why don't we just create that where it's like, hey, are we doing the checklists of what Alex is saying so that we can get bought by Alex eventually? That would be cool. Because then you're like, it's for business owners and you're just saying, hey, do these accountability things so that you can one day, someday get, maybe the first onboarding is we book a schedule to Las Vegas, we go meet Alex, but then it's like we do the thing and it's like we're following the checkbooks, we're following his lessons, his books to a T. Accountability. Why doesn't somebody create that? And just like, credit to Alex, like, this is Alex's school, because he doesn't, he's got his unlockable, which is 1 to 3 million a year. So that's an unlockable. It's like, let's pitch it to Alex now. It's like, let's get our business pitched to Alex. We're covering the gap and we're just creating the accountability into that. And that's a business in itself. So we'll see if that creates, if you made it this far, maybe you'll create it. Maybe we'll coincide and create it together. All right. Peace.